So, welcome everyone. We have the first episode of Devs in the Shed for 2023. Paul and myself are up top in the video, as you can see, and we have a special guest star. In fact, it's a second Paul. Paul, would you like to introduce yourself down the bottom?
Sure. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. So my name's Paul Colmer. I'm a senior technical trader with AWS. And today I'm really excited to be talking about generative AI and showing a little bit of whiteboarding and doing some demos for you. So thanks again for having me on the show. Look forward to showing you a few goodies and seeing how we roll.
Excellent. And for the audience, I guess AI is probably a pretty known concept. I think you can't escape it in the news these days. But what exactly is generative AI? How do we dive into this, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think let's dial it back. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. So AI, artificial intelligence, and what is that? What's the definition of that? So I don't know if you guys have ever seen the film. Have you seen the film The Imitation Game? Benedict Cumberbatch plays the character, Alan Turing.
Yep, and Alan Turing had one of the first computers that they used in World War II to crack German codes, if I remember. I could be completely wrong, though.
You are spot on, exactly right. And the great thing about Alan Turing, not only did they feature his life in the World War II scene that you talked about in the film The Imitation Game, he also developed a little test. He called it the Turing test. And the way the Turing test would work is you'd have 3 rooms. You'd have a human in one room. You'd have another human in another room. And in a third room, you'd have a computer. And the idea was that you would then install your program on the computer. This is your AI on the computer. You then have a real person next to that computer. And then this third person would pass messages effectively between the rooms to ask questions of both the computer and the person. And if the person asking the question was then fooled into thinking that the computer was the human, then the computer could be defined as AI. And that was known as a Turing test. And so that's the way I like to talk about AI. As if a computer can fool you, then it's probably AI. And so that's the sort of definition I like to fall back on.
Well, I do know that when I've used the computer to chat to Paul, Paul's guessed straight away that it is the computer. So maybe what I've been using hasn't really passed that Turing test just yet.
Or maybe the AI is just really, really smart, right, Matt? So I just know
it could be, and it's missing the context of all that Australian lingo that we have, right, in our communications. It's a little more formal, I think, than how
it's very formal. It's very well written, but you can tell that it's not personalized enough. So I could tell, yeah.
Dear Paul, I hope you're having a fantastic day.
Absolutely right. It's amazing, isn't it? The way AI has come on leaps and bounds as well. Do you remember this little thing called Eliza years ago? Do you remember that AI program? It was running on the Commodore 64, and that was a very early version of AI. And boy, have we come a long way from there. When we look at what's available now, what can we think of that's available in AI now? What are some of the
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, what are some of the latest programs you've seen?
Yeah, I have not gone back to Liza. I think that the first thing that introed me to AI was the artificial intelligence movie, probably. And there was like a 1980s robot movie. I can't remember the name of it, but I do remember watching this kid. Which one was it?
Johnny Five is alive?
Not Johnny Five, and it wasn't Lawnmower Man. It was something else. It was about like this cute little robot. Anyways, it escapes me. New AI.
It was all the dream, wasn't it, Matt?
It could have been a dream. I'll remember it by the end. It'll hit me as we talk.
But it's incredible, isn't it? We started off like in the 80s with this program called Eliza running on Commodore 64 and probably, 30K of memory. And now we're seeing, some incredible technologies, ChatGPT. Everyone's raving about ChatGPT from OpenAI. We have DALL-E as well, which is able to convert words to artwork. Only yesterday, Google Bard, it was called. Google Bard came out. If you saw that news article,
which I did, yeah.
That's incredible. What are your thoughts on some of those technologies?
Yeah, no, I think they're pretty amazing. I know that we've got a lot in this space as well, right? Like I know that the Alexa team has a model that's very similar to ChatGPT. I've seen a number of customers running models that are very similar to DALL-E for testing purposes. Making some new article or picture or something like that, some graphics design to kind of give them a bit more freedom for what they can do with the business without having to get, you know, a whole team on board doing professional photography. It's kind of crazy, the world that we live in right now.
It is mad, isn't it? It is mad. And then AWS, like you said, we mentioned the Alexa model. That was some research that was recently done on the Alexa model. So it was able to take, I think, some of the intents, wasn't it? Take some of the intents and able then to translate those intents into a new intent, and also translate into different languages. I saw that article, I think, a few weeks ago. That was really, really impressive. And there's a couple of other things.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a developer, I think that the thing that has been the most interesting thing for me has been, you know, I'll think about what I want to write, and now I can write it as a comment, and artificial intelligence or machine learning is going to kind of guess most of that code, and I'll kind of accept, you know, a whole paragraph of code, and then I'll weed my way through it and then make alterations. But it's definitely sped up, I guess, my development workflow, right? And that's Code Whisperer, I think, is the tool that I use at the moment. Amazon Code Whisperer.
Code Whisperer must be the one you're talking about. But, you know, I've talked about Code Guru and DevOps Guru before, and some of those AI tools. And, you know, certainly they help with your operations, right? So they're runtime, there's pre-runtime operations. Then there's even further back with Code Whisperer when you're actually writing that code. Like as you're writing the code, it's that AI is beginning to understand the intent of what you're trying to program. So helping you along the way, but also, like, you know, helping you define like really good practices as well. So yeah, those are some interesting tools that are like helping like developers be able to effectively code faster. And I know I've watched a couple of developer streamers that have used some of these tools to solve challenges such as what's it called, Advent of Code. So Advent of Code sort of late last year, where you complete a series of coding challenges, and they're able to complete Advent of Code, like some of the early challenges, within 2 minutes. You know, in 2 minutes, you know, I barely even started looking at it. It was incredible how it was able to you know, take your commentary around what you're trying to code and literally write the code that executes and runs for you.